Debanked Ripple's Brad Garlinghouse due to crypto, executive says. Well, I've got a bit of an update for you on this because as it turns out, the current administration ain't having it. Things are absolutely changing and you'll love to see it. It protects every single one of you listening if you're in the United States. Then there's also this, US SEC, CFTC, combine forces to clear registered firms trading of spot crypto. This is fascinating. This is something that if things didn't go the way they went, election-wise last year, would not be happening. And the degree to which we are going to be substantially more wealthy, all of us here in crypto, I don't know, there's no way to know exactly what the difference would be depending on who won last year, but unquestionably, I don't think anyone would dispute that we are way better off financially if we're in crypto, everybody in crypto, because of the way things went down. And this is one more thing pushing us in the right direction. And it's just so sad that this is a partisan issue. I'll opine more on that in just a little bit later as we get into the video, but it really is sad. Like, there's nothing about crypto inherently that should be perceived as political. Yet here we are. And then we also have this. Wealth manager says XRP ETF approval odds are closer to 100%. Yeah, I don't doubt that. And that's another thing that's going to help to make us even more wealthy than we'd otherwise been. That would not be happening if things had gone down a bit differently. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, and by the way, just to be clear, I have a self-imposed policy on this channel that I don't say anything political unless it has to do with the economy, finance, or crypto, because then you're creeping up on my turf. If you're doing something that has to do with any of that, yeah, then I will. But whatever your political beliefs are, broadly speaking, I don't care. It doesn't matter. We can still be friends, whether we agree or disagree. I just don't care. This is not a political channel. It never will be. But there are definitely politics that crept into crypto. That's undeniable. There is an absolute war on crypto, and it's finally come to an end. But there are executives, including Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple CEO, who are absolutely targets of this. Unquestionably. It's just disgusting stuff, but now it's finally over. Not only is it over, as you'll see, there's actually going to be requirements to fix the problem. Just hang with me. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse, and this is, again, just to be clear, this is from October of last year. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse has personally been severed from a long-time banking relationship because he's a prominent figure in crypto, he told an audience in Washington on Wednesday. Individuals within the crypto industry are being debanked, he said at DC FinTech Week. I personally have been debanked. Garlinghouse tied his own experience to the wider trend in the U.S. industry that's struggled to maintain banking ties as regulators have cautioned institutions to limit their crypto involvement. He later added in an interview with CoinDesk that the institution that cut him off recently was Citigroup Inc., with which he'd been a customer for about 25 years, he said. And he added that it's not the only personal banking relationship he's lost because of his role in crypto. They said, "You have 5 days to move your money," he said. They were actually super honest. They're like, look, you are a notable person in crypto, and having notable people in crypto and banking the crypto industry means more scrutiny from federal regulators. Well, folks, that's pretty damn blunt. Yeah, you're in crypto, could make things tough for us, so bye, Brad Garlinghouse. That's how it went down. And it's kind of linguini-spined for Citigroup to have done that, but still, was it the most prudent thing for them to do? I acknowledge the answer is yes. Of course. Why wouldn't they? That's the pressure. I mean, it's coming from the very top of the government. I mean, what are you to do when you get that type of pressure from the federal government, whether it's from Congress or not? And it wasn't. But it's like wink, wink, nudge, nudge, play ball or you're going to be in trouble. That's the way it was. That's absolutely the way it was going down. Anyway, the CEO is highly critical of President Joe Biden's administration in Washington, saying Securities and Exchange Commission Chair Gary Gensler has led a reign of terror, that's for sure, and accusing the U.S. Treasury Department and Banking Regulator Office of the Comptroller of the Currency of being hostile to the industry. He said that whichever way the U.S. presidential elections go next month, the future for crypto policy will be better. No matter what happens, we're close. We're going to see a reset, he said. Yeah, okay, so I respectfully disagree on that last point. Maybe he was just being nice because he has to deal with whoever would have been in charge regardless. That could be the case. I respectfully disagree. I think had the election gone down a different way, there's just not a snowball's chance in hell that all of this positive stuff that we've seen and the market rallies that we've seen would have occurred. Not to this degree. I don't, like, even in the face of, terrible attacks from the government going back 16 years now, crypto was still going the right direction. But without the attacks, way bigger, way more money flows in, there's way less hesitation, and the United States, it's the largest capital market on the planet. So that has ramifications that run throughout the entire world. I do not believe for a moment, had this election gone different, that we'd be seeing quite these levels. Everything would be lower. Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, it's an unknowable to what degree, but of course it would. Because there would be people and businesses that would not feel comfortable delving into crypto. How many companies would have XRP as a treasury reserve asset if things hadn't gone the way they had? And so, whatever your politics are, again, I don't care. You can feel the way that you do about anything, even if you are voted for common. That's fine. At least be intellectually honest enough to acknowledge that this aspect right here, what's happening in crypto, is good for you. At least be intellectually honest enough to acknowledge that. So look at this. I came across this from Caitlin Long. She is the founder and CEO of Custodia Bank. That's a crypto-first bank. And she wrote the following. Many crypto companies are about to get our unlawfully closed U.S. bank accounts reinstated by December 5th, 2025. And this actually broke August 26th. She missed this. I missed this. And I'm willing to bet that most of you have not heard about this story. It just doesn't seem like it's something that was, for how consequential it is, it doesn't seem to me like something that was very broadly circulated. Because I'd be surprised. Like, usually when there's something of the scale, you see it, and there are a bunch of stories about it which are widely circulated, and you just come across it. So I missed it, she missed it, and again, like I said, I bet most of you did. But it's actually really big news. So this is going to be corrected. This is good for individuals and any institutions, businesses, anybody that ended up being debanked. It's going to be fixed here. And so here you see, this is from the SBA website, the actual SBA official website of the United States. SBA orders lenders to end practice of debanking. Freaking finally. August 26th of this year. Today, the U.S. Small Business Administration, SBA, sent a letter to its network of over 5,000 lenders instructing them to end politicized or unlawful banking practices, pursuant to Executive Order 14331. Guaranteeing fair banking for all Americans, SBA is requiring all lenders to stop the practice of Obama and Biden-era debanking and to reinstate otherwise qualified customers who were wrongfully denied access to financial services on the basis of political, religious, or ideological beliefs. Lenders who fail to comply with these directives will lose their good standing with the SBA and will be subject to additional punitive measures. Since the Obama administration, financial institutions have, both independently and at the direction of federal regulators, weaponized the banking system against Americans who refused to bend the knee to a partisan ideology. Under the leadership of President Donald J. Trump, whose own family and businesses were debanked, those days are over, said SBA Administrator Kelly Loeffler. And that's her. She was actually tagged here by Caitlin Long. This is her account on X. 28th Administrator of the U.S. Small Business Administration. And so this does have further reaching ramifications than just crypto. I'm just focusing, frankly, on the crypto stuff here. That's the part that's great for us. Because there's not going to be fear now. There's not going to be fear, and justice shall be done. Anybody who was unjustly debanked, problem's going to be fixed finally, it sounds. Anyway, Peace continues. This administration is putting an end to the discriminatory debanking practices that have cost too many hardworking Americans their businesses or the opportunity to start one. Access to banking should not be a partisan issue, but far too many confirmed debanking cases have targeted right-leaning businesses, nonprofits, and people, including Christian, pro-life, and Second Amendment organizations. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but jumping down to here, you see here, Operation Choke Point, initiated by President Obama and continued by President Biden, pressured lenders to debank gun manufacturers and other politically disfavored but otherwise lawful entities. There are myriad instances of religious and pro-life groups being debanked under the guise of reputational risk, Even President Donald J. Trump has been debanked by numerous institutions that refused to accept his deposits or closed his accounts altogether. Okay, and so I'm sharing that to highlight a little bit of history with you, whatever you think about that from a political perspective. I don't care. You think what you want to think. I'm not going to discuss it further on this channel, but that's a bit of the history. So that was the original Operation Choke Point. And then if you've heard of Operation Choke Point 2.0, that's why it's the 2.0 instead of just Operation Choke Point. It's because it's the same thing, but with crypto. Operation Choke Point 2.0, that was crypto. Trying to eliminate the on-ramps and off-ramps. So, even exchanges, there are multiple exchanges, even in the United States, that lost banking partnerships as a result of this. I mean, we were all at serious risk of losing reasonable access to crypto. That's the truth of the matter. I mean, how many big exchanges? I know Kraken, I believe it was Kraken, Binance US. I'm pretty sure it was Kraken. You can fact check me on that one. Maybe I'm wrong, but definitely Binance US. I think it was both of them, though. They had banking partnerships, and then suddenly you could just no longer link up your personal checking account. You couldn't get money in or out of the exchange. Yeah, that's a choke point. Operation Choke Point 2.0. And if you think that would have changed if the election went a different way, you got another thing coming, son. For crypto, I got to tell you, I am thrilled that this went the way that it did. And then you look here, Caitlin Long highlighted some other specifics. So what's going to happen moving forward? And it's in the same piece. It's right here, but I thought I'd share with you what Caitlin Long thought were some key points here. So pursuant to the executive order, the SBA's letter has required its lenders to take the following actions by December 5th, 2025. Make reasonable efforts to identify and reinstate any previous clients of their institution or any subsidiaries denied service through a politicized or unlawful debanking action in violation of a statutory or regulatory requirement under Section 7A, blah, blah, blah. And they have to send the notice of the reinstatement to the injured party. Also identify all potential clients denied access to financial services. Also provide notice to each otherwise qualified client advising of the denied access and the renewed option to engage in such services previously denied. And also identify all potential clients denied access to payment processing services. And so there's tons of this, including with, like I just said, cryptocurrency exchanges, also happening on an individual level. It was squashing innovation in the United States. And thankfully, that is over. That's something where I don't care what your beliefs are or politics are. We should all agree on that. That's a very good thing, this specifically. And then they write, lenders must submit a report to the SBA by January 5th, 2026, addressing and evidencing their compliance with the above directives. And then we have this. So because of the way things went down, definitely heading in the right direction. Here's the headline from CoinDesk. US SEC, CFTC combine forces to clear registered firms trading of spot crypto. So here's a post from Eleanor Tarrant on the matter rather than reading the article because it gets to the heart of the matter. And this is great for all of us. And understand, I'm hyper interested in XRP, and I know a lot of you listening are as well. It's my largest individual crypto holding. The environment that we live in is critical for a higher XRP price. That's why this matters. It's true for all of your altcoins, and it's true for Bitcoin. I just tend to think towards what it means for me personally, and I'm sure that you guys are as well, because you're looking at your portfolio, you're thinking, okay, what might it be under certain circumstances? How much higher would it be in a friendly environment? And the answer is way higher. And I do believe that's what we're seeing right now. I do not believe for a moment the crypto market cap would be as high as it is, even with the recent pullback, if not for the way things have gone down. And so here's what Eleanor had to say. In a rare show of unity, SEC and CFTC staff just issued a joint statement clarifying that SEC and CFTC registered exchanges are not prohibited from facilitating the trading of certain spot crypto asset products. SEC Chair Paul Atkins said, and this is a quote, market participants should have the freedom to choose where they trade spot crypto assets. Hell yeah. And then CFTC Acting Chair Caroline Pham said, and this is also a quote, under the prior administration, our agency sent mixed signals about regulation and compliance in digital asset markets, but the message was clear. Innovation was not welcome. That chapter is over. End quote. And so you'll love to see it. This is the first pro-crypto administration in history. And when I say that, I am considering the first Trump administration. It was anti-crypto, unquestionably. But Trump realized that he was wrong about that. He was persuaded, and he changed his mind, which is what you should do in life. If you have a particular strong stance, but then new information is presented to you, and you feel differently, then you actually change your mind. And that is obviously what has happened here, and then some. And he's gone way, way, way more pro-crypto than even I expected. I expect him to be very pro-crypto. It's not just this passing thing. There's a very focused, high-energy effort in doing everything that could possibly be done to make the United States the crypto capital on the planet. It's so laser focused. It's beyond even what I was super optimistic. This is beyond even what I hoped for. Everything that's been happening, and just pulling back all of the lawsuits. Obviously, these ETFs for XRP and everything else, I believe they're going to get approved. Just as a nice segue actually into this. Wealth Manager says XRP ETF approval odds are closer to 100%. Nate Garachi, the president of Novadius Wealth Management, highlights the growing market confidence surrounding the potential approval of a spot XRP ETF this year. He referenced data from Polymarket showing that XRP ETF approval odds stood at 87%. This indicates that Polymarket users are 87% confident the US SEC will approve at least one XRP ETF this year. Notably, the data shows a 16% surge in approval odds over the past year. This reflects heightened confidence in the likelihood of XRP ETFs launching by the end of 2025. Okay, I buy into that narrative 100%. I'll be shocked if XRP ETFs don't get approved, and I'd also be pretty surprised if it doesn't happen this year. Now, the current deadline for XRP spot ETFs, that's October. And the fact that they've been delayed up to this point, you can feel disappointed about it, that's fair. But I don't think that's some sort of sign that's not going to get approved. Now, in the past, under previous administrations, they were just using this delay tactic because then they were pushing back when they could file again to try and get another like Bitcoin ETF, for example. So it was a tactic in previous administrations. Here, I think it's very obvious that the SEC, under new leadership, is trying to get its ducks in a row, and they want to have proper crypto guidance in place, and they're working on that framework. They want that done before they start approving ETFs, any additional ETFs in the world of crypto. But I do believe they're coming. And so here's the post from Nate Garachi. Again, he's the president of Novadius Wealth, formerly the ETF store. And he wrote here the other day, "You heard it here first. People are severely underestimating investor demand for spot XRP and Solana ETFs, just like they did with spot Bitcoin and Ether ETFs. You see, I've been here before, and I have the receipts." And he shared this post of his from July 3rd, 2023. So this would be about half a year before the first spot Bitcoin ETFs got approved. And in July of 2023, he wrote, "Will go on record, ... Think spot Bitcoin ETF launch shatters previous record ETF launch. It won't even be close." And folks, he was correct about that. It absolutely shattered it. Then he shared this. This is from March 2nd, 2024. So Bitcoin ETF had been approved, but we were waiting on Ether. And he said, "We'll go out on a limb early and predict spot," at least I think it was. I think they launched in May. I could be wrong. If you want to know for sure, just check. I try and be precise. And if I don't know something, I just say it. Maybe it was approved by March. For some reason, I'm thinking it was more like April or May. Could be wrong there. Anyway, but he said here in March of 2024, "We'll go out on limb early and predict spot Ether ETFs will be bigger deal than everyone thinks. Spot Bitcoin ETF demand was also severely underestimated. Whether you like it or not, Ethereum has 1/3 market cap of Bitcoin. Spot Bitcoin ETF category already approximately $50 billion. Basic math, in my opinion." Okay, so you can see the optimism he had going in. He obviously was correct. They dwarfed most people's expectations, Bitcoin and ETH. And he's saying the same thing for XRP, but he's been hyper-focused on XRP compared to other coins. I've been following his posts. He's most optimistic about XRP, and I'd say for good reason. There's tons of XRP demand that's been built up over the years because it was artificially suppressed. And now we don't have to worry about that. All this forced debanking, it's coming to an end. The war on crypto is over. The United States, for the first time in history, is unapologetically pro-crypto from the top of the White House, top of the administration, White House on down. And it shows. Oh, it shows. And